This video marks the start of a 7-part series covering all of the sampling types you are required to know at GCSE. I first recommend that you watch my video, Populations and Samples, which covers all the terms that will be used throughout the next few videos. I'll link it in the video's description. The 7 sampling types that you are required to know are on the screen. Feel free to take note of this. We're going to look at simple random sampling in this video. I'm going to use an example of a school again. So let's say we need to find a sample of 15 students from a year group of 120. I'll then ask them about their opinions on GCSE. Firstly, I'm going to label all 120 students a number from 1 to 120. Again, from this we need to select 15 students. We can start to select our sample by first obtaining a calculator. You'll be heading into the exam with a calculator, but you won't actually have to do any of this. But I'm going to explain the process here anyway. We first need to generate a series of random numbers. Both the old and new version of the Casio calculators are able to do this. There are now 2 different generations of calculators. I'll try my best to explain how you can generate the random numbers. It's more extra info than anything, but provides a useful insight. On the old one, you press alpha, then dot. This gives you the word phrase ran_int or a bracket. Then put our numbers in. We want 1 and 15. So we'd put 1 followed by a comma using shift and right bracket, then finally put 15 and close off the bracket. For the newer ones, you'd press catalog, then go to probability, then select random integer, and you do the same thing to close it off. As a result, we obtain these numbers. You can try along, just bear in mind you'll almost certainly get different numbers to me. So I get 80, 46, 70, 87, 113, 46, and 72. I'll do the rest for you, or we'll be here forever. So, you might realize that there are not actually 15 numbers here. In fact, I've gone over quite a bit. That's when you realize we have duplicates of some numbers. This is to be expected. If you want the sample to be truly random, then the number has to be able to appear again. Just like rolling dice, it's possible to get 2 6s in a row. What you do in this scenario is ignore the repeats. This is a key point, so remember this. So the method I used to obtain my sample of 15 students was a calculator. That's one possible way, but I could also use a plethora of alternatives. You can use a random number generator, which you can find online on Google. And even something as simple as picking names from a hat or using dice. Note you'd probably only do this if the population is small. For a larger population, a random number generator is much quicker and efficient. So the point is, as long as it's random, we could use it. There is also one more significant point that you should be drilling into your brain word for word. Each and every member from the population has an equal chance of being selected. If I put all their names in the hat, anyone can be selected and they have the same probability. This is what eliminates the bias. Another thing to mention is that we cannot carry out a simple random sample unless we have a sampling frame. So from the above definition, each member is a sampling unit. That was very detailed and possibly a bit too long. In reality, this is a really simple topic and it can be split in 4 steps. It also forms the basis of answering common exam questions. Firstly, assign a number to each member of the population. You can mention, but don't have to, that you'd use a sampling frame to do this. You can then choose and state the method of selection, be it a hat or a calculator. Select the corresponding numbers chosen from your population, and finally, ignore any repeats and keep choosing numbers till the sample size is reached. We'll now have a look at both the advantages and disadvantages in relation to the sampling method. Starting with the positives. Every member has an equal chance of selection. This is great as it eliminates bias, our second point. As a result, the sample is also more likely to be representative of the population. However, we are required to have a sampling frame, which isn't always obtainable. As the population and sample both get larger, it does quickly become more time-consuming and expensive. This video wasn't too long, Now we'll take a look at some exam questions, just a few to consolidate the knowledge. Question 1. A teacher puts all of his students' names into a hat, then looks away and selects 10 names without replacement. State the method of sampling. Now this is obviously going to be random sampling, but you may as well think of why this is. So the method of picking names from a hat is random. You cannot perhaps pick a certain name if all the strips of paper are identical, and you have no way of knowing even if you wanted to. So as this is, one person has the exact same chance as another on another slip of paper being selected. Question 2 is much more typical, and so you really need to be familiar with this type of question. A company has a list of 500 employees from a central payroll database. An analysis wants to take a sample of 30 employees. Describe how this could be done. Take some time and pause the video. See if you can remember what process we went through. My answer will be a little excessive to include all of the detail. However, as long as your answer revolves around the parts in bold, you should be fine to get all the marks. We'll first use the company payroll, which is the sampling frame, and assign each person a number 1 to 500, as that's the number of total employees. I could then state I've chosen a method. Here I've done the random number generator, but you could use anything that you'd like as long as it is a random method that also gives an equal probability of selection. So I'll generate numbers with this and ignoring repeats, keep going till I reach 30, and lastly, select the corresponding numbers to the population and you'll obtain a sample of 30. That was 3 marks. It will likely be around that if it does come up at the exam. Thanks for sticking by, but please stay for a bit longer while I get your opinion. I'd like to know over the next couple of months if you'd prefer me to commit to making more videos, as I am currently doing so now, or if you'd like me to start producing those worksheets I initially promised. It seems I overestimated the time it would take and how difficult it is to come up with complex questions. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you have anything you'd like to say. If you want to see some more videos that I've made, click on the playlist. If you want to move on to the next sampling method, click here.